A man was shot and killed in Fern Creek, and two of his brothers are now facing charges. It's our top story here at 6:30. I'm Alex Dieterer. The shooting happened around 3 this morning on Brentlinger Park Drive at a Fern Creek apartment complex. The victim was identified as 30-year-old Darrell E. Burnett Jr. LMPD officers found Burnett Jr., who had been shot in the head and right leg. He was taken to WHAS11 Hospital, where he died a short time later from his injuries. 37-year-old Darrell R. Burnett has been charged with murder, while 36-year-old Kiara Page faces assault charges. LMPD confirmed all three of them are brothers. Officers say while in custody, Page gave a statement to investigators admitting to a fight with Burnett Jr. prior to shooting him in the leg. Both men are being held at Metro Corrections awaiting arraignment. The investigation is still ongoing. A West Louisville bar has had its permit suspended, and it's an action one Metro Council member says she's been asking for years. Double Deuce Sports Bar and Grill had an emergency suspension order placed on them by Metro Alcoholic Beverage Control yesterday. That suspension came after two women went to the hospital after being shot there Saturday morning. WHAS11's Clarice Shaley spoke with Councilwoman Tammy Hawkins, who says she hopes the owner learns from this.
Places like this have to be safe for patrons to come into.
Councilwoman Tammy Hawkins says she's received many calls about altercations at Double Deuce Sports Bar and Grill at the corner of West Broadway and 26th Street. The location is now closed after receiving an emergency suspension order.
Well, definitely not surprised.
After two women were shot at the location Saturday morning, Metro Alcoholic Beverage Control suspended their permit. Metro ABC Director Brad Silveria told us they remain committed to taking swift action when safety is at risk. Councilwoman Tammy Hawkins says she's been advocating for change here for years and is happy Metro ABC has taken action.
We can't be partners with businesses that allow those things to happen on the inside. I hope that it will grab the owner's attention.
The councilwoman hoping for even more change after she's already asked the business to add lights outside to increase safety at the corner. On West Broadway, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 on your side.
And that shooting is still under investigation. The office for the mayor said, quote, as part of Mayor Greenberg's Safe Louisville plan, we'll keep using new tools at our disposal, like ABC's swift action this weekend to crack down on businesses and conditions that create violence, end quote. We have reached out to the business, but haven't yet heard back. A man is dead after a car crash Saturday morning. Jeffersontown police say two vehicles were involved in the crash that happened on Bunsen Parkway in J-Town. Police say one vehicle turned onto Bunsen Way and was hit by another vehicle traveling westbound. The 65-year-old driver was taken to the U of L hospital, where he later died from his injuries. Police say no other injuries were reported and no charges are expected in this accident. And a person is in the hospital after a residential fire in Middletown this morning. According to Anchorage Middletown Fire and EMS, the fire happened on Barcelona Drive just off of South English Station Road around 1 this morning. Firefighters say the fire was seen coming from the roof of the home. The person living there had left the home before firefighters arrived and received minor injuries, but is expected to survive. It took 34 firefighters around 40 minutes to put out the fire, and the cause of this fire is still under investigation. Well, it was a gloomy Sunday here for us in Kentuckiana, but the worst of this storm seems to be behind us. Let's check in now with meteorologist Austin Evans. And Austin, it seems like these storms left a little bit of cooler air in their path for us.
Quite a bit cooler, and we'll be discussing that later on in my full check of weather. But you can see here on satellite radar pretty much all of the rain having moved out of Kentuckiana at this time. Still got a couple of showers holding on, one in Marion County, Taylor County as well, and that one moving out just to the north of Bardstown. But we're pretty much done with that rainfall for the most part today. Everything moving relatively smoothly on our four-box Trimark traffic cameras, as you can see there. And taking a look from our Jeffersonville camera overlooking the Louisville skyline. This is by First Savings Bank as part of our Shriners Children's Hospital camera network. All is nice, cool, and quiet, at least here in the Louisville Metro. We'll be in the mid-50s right now, and we're going to gradually cool off from there. Pretty much all of us in the 50s, and that is thanks thanks to that cold front that passed through earlier today, really dropping those temperatures, and we're going to see them drop even more down into the 40s relatively quickly. I'll have details on your work week coming up in my full forecast.
Thank you, Austin. We have an update tonight on the race to replace Senator Mitch McConnell. Candidate Daniel Cameron is now banking on his name recognition to overcome his lack of fundraising for the race. Newly released campaign finance reports shows Daniel Cameron is trailing far behind his two opponents in fundraising efforts. Despite this, some polling shows his name has given him a slight edge in the race. Cameron has yet to air a Senate campaign ad on TV, while Barr and Morris have both filled the screens with early commercials. Cameron previously worked as the senator's general counsel and has insisted he will have the resources to win. But the question remains if the former state attorney general, an unsuccessful nominee for governor, can raise enough money to keep the momentum going. On Wednesday, Barr and Cameron had a heated exchange on social media. Barr saying, quote, "You're stagnant, have no money, and you already blew one statewide race," end quote. Cameron responded by pointing to a recent Barr campaign poll, acknowledging that Cameron was ahead. Quote, "Representative Barr put out a poll that confirms what everyone already knows. I'm the front runner," end quote. Nationwide and here locally, people across America flooded the streets for No Kings protests against the Trump administration on Saturday. Millions marched all day amid the ongoing government shutdown, immigration raids, and National Guard troops deploying to American cities. Major cities from Memphis to Washington, D.C., Atlanta to Charlotte, and of course, a city that's no stranger to calls for change, Louisville. But in the past few days, many Republican lawmakers have been condemning the protests, calling them anti-American. Today, House Speaker Mike Johnson responded to yesterday's protests.
But the irony of the message is pretty clear for everyone. If President Trump was a king, they would not have been able to engage in that free speech exercise out on the mall, by the way, which was open because President Trump hasn't closed it. In the last shutdown, 2013 era, President Obama closed the National Mall, it closed all the national parks, didn't allow people to engage in all this.
Despite Republicans condemning the protests, Americans of all ages and backgrounds made their way to the public square to peacefully voice their opinion. In Louisville, a veteran and his wife marched in opposition of the Trump administration.
I think there should be due process of law, and I don't think that is happening with President Trump.
We're setting an example for our granddaughters that it's good to be proud to be American.
The government shutdown is now approaching its fourth week with still no end in sight.